Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Area 1 Young Writer podcast. My name is Rory Cashman, and I'm a part of the Area 1 Young Writer Committee. But before we get into the episode, I did just want to give you a little background about me. I've been writing for a little over 10 years at this point, but I only recently got into eventing and became an Area 1 Young Writer in the past few years. I started competing in beginner novice on my off the track thoroughbred Prince since I began leasing him in about May of 2022, but recently I did compete in my first novice. This podcast is really for everyone, whether you're a young rider or an adult. Even if you're not from Area 1, this is still for you. As someone who really only recently got into eventing, I've found that questions about eventing and other riding tips rarely have good answers when coming from just a quick Google search. So, why not ask all the questions I have on here and share the answers with all of you? Asking questions is really so important in this amazing sport, and I'm really, really excited to share it with all of you.
All right, it's time to meet our first three committee members. Today we will just be speaking with the committee officers who have been really doing some amazing things with this committee. I'm so excited to talk about it, but yeah, I think we really need to get to know our officers a little bit more before we start. I will say keep an eye out for another episode where we will meet the rest of the Area 1 Young Rider Committee. So yeah, why don't you all just introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about how you got into eventing and where you are right now?
Hello, I'm Myles McLaughlin. I'm the co-president with Ava. I started eventing. I grew up in Pony Club at a Pony Club riding center in Acton, Massachusetts, where it was the focus as Pony Club, and with the association came the eventing, and from there I've been to a couple different barns, and now I'm currently a working student for Ariel Grold. So yeah, that's my background.
I'm Ava Applebaum. I also work with Myles, and I started riding when I was 4 and changed to eventing when I was 12. I compete 3 different horses. I go Florida in the winter. Yeah, and one of them I am producing. He is a baby, and another one I am having fun with and moving up the levels.
I'm AJ Korka. I am currently eventing at Scarlet Hill Farm in Groton, Massachusetts, but I started at the same farm that Myles started at in Acton. So I also started out in Pony Club and just focusing on horsemanship and the basics. And then eventually, as Myles said, it kind of turned into eventing. And then, yeah, my horse is at Scarlet, and that's where I ride, and I'm a working student as well.
All right, that's awesome. I know a couple of you kind of mentioned it, but what has your role been on the committee so far, and what's it been like participating in that?
Me and Myles, for the most part, discuss topics and we bring them to the committee. And from there, we discuss that and disperse and see where that topic kind of takes us.
I'm like the secretary, you could say, of the committee, and it's my job just to take notes and make sure everything stays organized. If someone has to be contacted about something or if an email needs to be sent out, sometimes I'll do that and just making sure we all are on the same page.
All right, that's great. So before we dive into really what we're doing in the committee so far, I did kind of want to do a few fun questions. So just tell me a little bit about the horse you're working with right now, or if you have a couple ones, just tell me a bit about him.
Right now, I have a now 8-year-old off the track thoroughbred named Felix. I will have him 2 years coming this November. Right now, we're competing at the novice level with hopes of moving up to training this season. Yeah, he's a really good boy, and I really enjoy riding him.
My horse is named Sully. He's an 18-year-old off the track thoroughbred. I've had him for about, I think, a year and a half now. And we competed novice this season, and the hope is to hopefully make it down to Florida this winter and compete a little more, and ideally moving up to training next year.
My boys are 11, 9, and 6. Right now, we're just kind of getting to know each other. One I've had for almost 2 years that I've competed through modified with, and the other two I'm just getting to know and hope to climb the levels with them this winter.
That's great. You all have some really wonderful horses. I have met a couple of them at the shows. So what advice would you give to a young rider who's just looking to start showing, especially in eventing?
My advice to them would just to be have fun, there's really no pressure. It's just you and your horse when you're out there, which is what I love about eventing. Um, and every day is a journey and just take it step by step.
My advice is definitely to start in a place where it's fun and you're surrounded with people you really like. Like it's all about like the people in the sport too. So obviously I love the sport and you love the horse and sport, and that's why you do the sport. But it makes a big difference to have a really strong community like around you as well.
My piece of advice is don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like a lot of time, especially in the horse world, it can be a little bit scary to go up to your trainer or something to ask a question, but rather you feel safe and confident on your horse and knowing that you're doing it right than you be shy and not ask the question, because everyone's really out there to help you. And, if they're not, then you need to find a new trainer, I guess. But yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the Young Rider program really encourages that communication and community, and I think that's one of the things that really makes it so great. Um, so what are this is kind of a fun one. What are your top 3 things that you just can't live without at a competition?
I definitely say one of my top 3 is sticky spray. I put on for every phase, and it's my ride or die, cannot live without.
I get that.
I always make sure I have lots of peppermints. Those are my horse's favorite, and he gets a little extra bribery when we're at competition. So just making sure I buy an extra big bag before I leave.
Maybe my helmet. I feel like, yeah, because you can't ride without that. So that's my answer.
I'd say that's important.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea to bring with you. So, what advice would you give to parents who have children who are looking into getting into eventing?
I would definitely say similar to before, like, make sure like the community is good and like, not that like you have to be super involved and talking to everyone all the time, which is great, but that's not necessary. Just making sure that the community that you're rider at is one that they enjoy, and also making sure that they have like independence within the sport. So obviously helping them is great and making sure they have the support they need, but also letting them figure stuff out on their own and letting them like learn about the sport and what it means to them kind of separate from you.
I'd say like definitely like safety is a top priority when you come to eventing. It can be dangerous at times, so definitely that is important. And as a parent, just to remember that like there will be stressful situations, but at the end of the day, you're doing this to have fun, which is always, I feel like, important to remind your child.
A piece of advice I'd have for a parent, I'd tell them to always have their credit card available. Sport is very expensive. So I feel like, the horse show moms, they need to do their part and, pay the bills. But all jokes aside, I do think, it is an expensive sport, and we're very lucky for our horse show parents who are able to support us in our endeavors.
And on like the flip side of that, it's also important to know that there are a lot of trainers and barns, give you opportunities so you can learn as much as you can and work off what you can. So even though it is still an expensive sport and it's not, obviously you can't work every single little bit off, there are definitely opportunities for you to get into it, even if you feel like you might not necessarily have the money.
That's why I also love the whole idea of when a working student became a thing, because it's a way to gain your education and, like you said, to work off some things, and just a great way to be like hands-on.
Yeah, I definitely have learned the most through being a working student, and I've moved a couple of barns, but I'm very happy at Scarlet Hill where I am now. But just being able to be at the barn so often and helping with so many different things, I've learned a ton. So even if I'm not riding, if I'm working, it's still a really great opportunity.
All right, yeah, 100% on the credit card thing. Those little stands at competitions always get me.
Definitely.
Yeah. So kind of bouncing off of the competition thing, what are your favorite showgrounds in Area 1 and why?
I love GMHA. It is so pretty. It is definitely a great event organized. I love our volunteers that we have. They're super generous for volunteering. And yeah, it's definitely my number one favorite.
I'm going to have to agree with Ava on GMHA. I've definitely spent like a lot of time there in a season, and it's just really familiar at this point, and everyone's super nice, and the environment's just pretty great.
I'm going to have to say Millbrook. It's really fun to see all the pros who you don't normally see up north with us, but it's a different environment, and it makes it's fun to be at a big event like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially those stay away shows, you really get to see the community in, like the eventing community, and I think it's always great, especially at GMHA. I'm going to have to third on the favorite with that one. So what life skills have you kind of gotten from being an equestrian, or more specifically still an eventer?
I'm going to have to say a really big life skill that I got is self-advocacy. In order to truly make it in the sport, or like just get where you want, it doesn't matter where you want to go with your goals. But if you do have goals, you need to make sure that you are, saying this is what I want to do, and make sure you have a plan and articulate that plan in order to make it happen, because nobody else is going to make it happen but you. So I'd say make sure you go out there and tell people what you want.
Mine is definitely the thing that's helped me most, or that I've like gained the most, is independence and being able to have a little more like trust in like what I know and what I want to do. So being independent, not just like in the barn when I'm working or when I'm tagging up, and that started all the way like back in Pony Club when they, encourage you to, learn to tack up independently when you first start, to now, I can groom for my trainers and go to a show and be confident in my independence.
Mine would probably to really, you discover that drive inside of you, that you learn that if you really want something, you're going to work for it. If you have, of course, those goals, and you get up every day and you take care of your horse and you learn all these new things. And I think it's, really important to have a drive for something if you love it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with having the drive, and the drive applies to both, like Ava said, riding and also working.
Sometimes on those cold mornings, it takes a lot to get out of bed.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why you go to Florida.
Exactly. That's true. But even like, we have those early show mornings that sometimes you don't want to get up, but you remember why you do it and why you love it.
Yeah, and even when you're working, you have to remember, like, even though it is, 6 a.m. and 20 degrees, you're doing it so that you can ride and for the horses and because you love the sport.
Exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with those. Those are some really wonderful answers. So, kind of again bouncing off of the weather. I know that because of the lovely weather we have in Area 1, our show season here is wrapping up, and again, I know that some of you are going to Florida, but do you have any goals that you're kind of looking at for the next Area 1 show season?
I'm really excited for the GMHA festival since I know we got rained out and flooded, so we didn't get to do that this year. So one of my goals is to hopefully be able to run 2 of my horses in the FEI there, which I'm really looking forward to.
I agree. Definitely just with the weather, the even the season that we've had where so many things were rained out, just being able to get out more next year and, keep continuing gaining confidence with me and my horse.
Unfortunately, I will not be in Area 1 for the next bit. I'm hoping that maybe we'll decide to go up to Millbrook, but which would be great to see everyone and see all my great friends I've made at horse shows and stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, I will not be around in Area 1 for the next year.
So, team challenges have been a really big focus within this Young Rider Committee in Area 1. I believe that all of you have participated in the 3 that we held over the summer. Could you kind of just go over what it was like participating and what you think that young riders can gain from participating in these team challenges?
I know at the last GMHA in September, I met up with my team and we picked a name, and then we our name kind of became sort of like our mascot, and we were able to print out little pictures, put them on our saddle pads. So it was just nice to feel that even though I didn't know them at all before this, when we were competing, we could kind of see each other in the warm up sometimes or see each other walking around. It was kind of fun just to be able to see that connection, even though it was just through maybe a picture on the saddle pads or through the collar we were wearing. It was still fun to see a connection kind of all over the grounds.
Yeah, I definitely love that we built these connections with, people that you may have never gotten to know. It was definitely a cool thing to be able to meet new people, and yeah, it was definitely something different, and I look forward to it next year.
Yeah, I was part of. The only one I was able to do is the one at Millbrook, and that was really cool because we were able to be a part of a team with professional, and I got to meet. I was on a team with Allison Springer, and I got to have a little conversation about her with her, and yeah, it was a cool experience to meet a professional who's was very successful in the sport. And another great benefit of joining the team is you get some pretty cool prizes if your team does good, which is always a bonus.
It's always something, I guess, to look forward to, right? I know I've had some of my teams are like, so what exactly did we get? I was like, not quite sure, but every team gets a little something, which is like you said, a bonus to look forward to at the end of the weekend.
And ribbons. Who doesn't love ribbons?
Never can have enough, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that these team challenges have been a wonderful way of just kind of building up these little communities, especially within Area 1, and it's great for the young riders. I think another big example, because we've kind of gone over it, of the eventing community would be how the Area 1 eventers stepped up to help GMHA this year. I think that was wonderful, and I think that really shows how great eventing is and what a wonderful sport it is. All right. So, Area 1 offers a really awesome opportunity to young riders, which are some clinics and symposiums that we were able to offer, as well as a young rider camp that this year was held in South Woodstock, Vermont in July at GMHA. So what do you think young riders could get out of these clinics, camps, or just learning opportunities? And if you did participate, how was that for you?
I have been to the Young Rider camp for the past 2 years, and I've had a great experience at both times that I went. It's a really great opportunity to have training with some of the best trainers in the area, and they're all very successful at training young riders and getting them up the levels, and it really shows. My horse felt great on the last day, and it's super fun too. I've met a lot of new people from there, and it's fun to stay over at the hotel. But yeah, it's overall I've had a lot of fun and learned a lot from the young riders camp. I was also able to attend the spring symposium this when was it last March, and I found that really super helpful because, as you guys know, I was looking for a working student position, and I was able to talk to Lauren Mayer, who was able to help me a lot. She was Lauren Nicholson's groom, and she helped me kind of come up with things to look for when I was finding a working student position.
I unfortunately was never able to participate in those things, but I know it was definitely a great way for Area 1 young riders to be able to have another on set of hands of a trainer to, help maybe tighten up some skills and get to know new people. And again, just like the experience of being able to get out there and, go GMHA and all the fun things like that.
Yeah, I also wasn't able to participate in the clinics recently, but I do know that I have a ton of friends who went, and all of them had really great experiences and learned a lot and highly recommended it. And I wish I could have gone, but sadly I wasn't available to go. But I've heard lots of good things.
I know. I hope I can go next year. It looks so fun.
It is a lot of fun. And yeah, it's great. It's also a great way to have independency around the horse shows. Because you don't have a trainer there. You're your own barn manager. You have to take care of your horse by yourself. There are people who will happily help you, but it's a big part of it is you have to step up and take care of your horse for yourself, which is a great skill to have.
It was cool. It was cool too, Myles. You got to have an interview with someone at the GMHA one, didn't you?
Yes, since I'm part of the committee, I decided that it would be fun for people to interview some of the instructors. So you can check those videos out on the Area 1 Young Riders Instagram pages. It was fun.
So another opportunity I've seen Area 1 offering to young riders is the mentorships. Did any of you participate in any of those?
I did not.
No, I did not. But it seems like if I was available, I definitely would have. But it seems like it's a very good way to kind of learn the insides of the sports that a lot of us don't really think about, like what it takes to be a TD or what it takes to be a course designer. Because I know a lot of it's easy to take these people for granted because we don't really see them at the horse shows, but they're the reasons why we're able to have these horse shows. So I think it's a great way in order to get a new perspective on what it takes to run a horse show.
Yeah, I agree. I also didn't do it. I wish I had the time, or I had, signed up a little bit sooner. But unfortunately, I'm not doing one.
Yeah, sadly, with Area 1's show season coming to an end, that opportunity has kind of run out. However, hopefully we can bring it back for next year because, like you had both just said, it really is a awesome opportunity, especially if you want to pursue a career in eventing past just being a young rider. How has being in the Area 1 Young Rider program impacted your riding career from, just going forward and everything?
Well, like we talked about before, just having the community of the young riders and just like all the young riders in general in Area 1, but specifically in the committee, it's been nice to have a smaller group that you can, directly connect with, and it feels nice to be making, decisions together and progress together.
I'd agree with that. Being able to, have a team to lean on, even if you have a question, and able to shoot out a text or an email and be able to touch base with, a group of kids that are your age instead of maybe always having to reach out to an adult or a trainer.
Yeah, I also would say the opportunities that are offered to young riders, like the previous clinic with who was it, Boolean, I forget the other person who was the clinic, Emma,